Yeah, it's funny because like it's odd that with the Fiesta Bowl, like these are two teams that have a great history with the Fiesta Bowl. Boise, they're 3-0 all time at the Fiesta, and if you think about the most memorable moment in Boise State history,
Oh yeah.
is the Statue of Liberty play, Ian Johnson getting down on a knee and proposing to the cheerleader, like the whole deal, like that was Fiesta Bowl. And then if you think about Penn State, like their biggest win in the history of that program was beating Miami in the national title, picking Vinny Testaverde off 5 times in the Fiesta Bowl. So, I mean, these two teams are combined 10-0 in the Fiesta Bowl. So it'll be funny that like that this is where these two teams meet. Obviously, I've definitely been a doubter of Penn State all season long because I think I've been waiting for that one game where I'm like, boom, that's it. Like Ohio State and Tennessee, like where I saw the one game where like, oh yeah, okay, I see it. They are head and shoulders above those other teams. And you look at now their performance against Oregon in the championship game was the one I think that kind of was like, oh wow, they're a lot better than I thought they were. Now they had a significant score advantage over SMU in the playoff game, but I didn't like come away from that game thinking that like, oh, Penn State like dominating again. I came away from that game going, man, if Jennings isn't throwing the interceptions directly to the Penn State defenders, like maybe this is a different game. I still don't think SMU wins that game, but I didn't come away with that like, oh wow, that was a dominant Penn State performance. And now, obviously, Ashley Jenny, he's going to be, he's trying to get to reach Barry Sanders' record for single rushing yards in a single season. Needs 131 yards to do it. Penn State, they got the 7th best run defense in the country. So that's going to be definitely an uphill challenge for him to get that. The one thing that I thought was interesting, though, when you go back and look at Boise's season, their defense had the best performance against Oregon as far as like from a yards perspective. They held Oregon to 352 total yards. Now, obviously, the Oregon in week 2 is not the Oregon that we're seeing now, and that team has improved a lot, but still, their defense played pretty well in that Oregon game. It was the only game that they lost this year. So it'll be interesting to see if their defense is able to kind of repeat that level of play against Penn State.
Yeah, I'd love to see Penn State find their way on a path to the national championship game. I think the CFP was built for them, right? Like how many times, and now being in the Big Ten, have I heard and have we talked about, God, if it wasn't for Michigan and Ohio State, right? And they couldn't beat Ohio State again this year. They didn't beat Oregon. And I've known Coach Franklin for a long time. Andy Koldnick, he's become somebody that I really enjoy being around. And Drew Aller, I think, has grown as much as any quarterback from last year to now. And how much fun would it be to see Boise State get a win? The thing that I'll be curious about, and this is what Boise State has to gauge against, Indiana, Notre Dame, and Kurt Signetti said it out on air afterwards. He said, we just didn't have the same caliber of player. Like if you put the rosters together, every staff does this where they say, all right, let's list our 1 through 22, and we got to find a way to play all those, right? If you did that for both of these teams, other than Ash and Genty, everybody you're picking is on Penn State's team, probably for the most part. Like I just wonder, like as the game goes on, if Penn State's athleticism, physicality, all the things that they are top to bottom as a team shows up. So you can't have any enforced errors if you're Boise State, because that's where you get exposed, right? They're going to have to throw the football. Like Abdul Carter, Zane Durant, and Ida Sutton, this front seven is real, and they're do as good of a job trying to stop Ash Genty as anybody. They've had time to repair. I don't think they'll completely stop them, but they'll slow them down. So what does Boise State do in pass game? They've been up and down. There have been games where they've completed 50% of their passes. There's been games where they've completed 70+% of their passes. So that's going to be the game. And then can they steal a turnover too? To your point of the defense, if they can do that, they'll have a shot. I'll be curious if Boise State takes a ton of risks. Is it a surprise onside after their first score? Like those are the things that I wonder, like, do they really believe? Like there's an adage, I think it's Lou Holtz who said it, was like, if a team tries something like that, I know they don't think they can beat us. I don't agree with that, but there's something to that. And I think Boise State needs to steal a possession. I don't think they can just match up and roll, but we'll find out. I can't wait to watch it. I love